Hello and welcome everyone to the Grid Vision Broadcasting Network here as we're going to be, I don't know why I said that, I'm not my usual intro, but welcome everybody as we are going to be tackling the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here tonight at Richmond Raceway. Of course, this is definitely a very fun track. The Action Track is actually its nickname, but of course, as I mentioned, this is the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Definitely had an exciting race last week. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. We're going to be joined in the booth tonight by Caleb Vieska. Of course, Austin Derbyshire down behind the cameras. Caleb, how are you doing tonight?
I'm very good, Brian. Spoke to you a little bit before the stream. Talked about our past couple weeks. It was a rough weekend, but we're here now. Very excited about this series, the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. As we saw last week, the rookie of the series, Keegan Sabilo, took the win. Obviously, this is a much different track that we are facing this week, so I am super excited for this race, for a much different track than we've seen before. Much longer fuel windows, Brian, and hope you're as excited as I am.
Oh, I definitely am. Of course, this is a 0.75 mile racetrack. The track temperature, I do believe, is around 105 at the moment for 70-something track, or I should say ambient. So not too hot out there in the ambient temperature, but surprisingly, actually, the track, I got that wrong. It's actually 80 degrees, so actually a little bit cooler out there on the racetrack. So that should provide for quite a bit of grip around this short track, but this track doesn't act a whole lot like other short tracks. It does have quite a bit of speed to it. It's also very unique with its D-shape. Of course, very easy to get spin happy, I'd say, off of turn number 4, and very easy to get into the wall off of turn 2. So I think we're going to see a lot of that here tonight. Of course, let's take a quick gander at the points coming into tonight's race. And of course, Justin Levine actually at the top of the board at the moment, which is quite a surprise. He's actually a relative newcomer to this series, of course, but has really hit the ground running, has really sent a huge message here. Andrew Hale, of course, sits second at the moment in the points. James Harris in third. Kyle Holden actually tied for fourth with Jason Taylor. Sixth place, Stephen Gibson. Seventh, William Mann Jr. Eighth, Craig Yanzak. Robert Wins in ninth. And George Young rounds out the top 10 in points at the moment. Of course, last week's winner, we talked about Keegan Sabilo. He's just back there in 15th position, so he's got a lot of work to do here, Caleb.
Yeah, of course, and I think that was due to the fact that he had a little bit of issues early on. Obviously, we saw him that he had been super quick throughout the past races. I mean, he was quick last race as well. Obviously, put himself on a strategy that we didn't expect, much different to everybody else's, and he ended up coming out with the win. As you see here running through the grid, I believe this is qualifying, and this is how we will start here today. Starting in first, Craig Ganzak obviously has been super quick all season long. We see him at the front, but when it comes to closing down races, it seems like he just hasn't been there thus far. Tonight may be different. This is obviously a much different track than what we've seen before. So Craig Ganzak starting off first in that number 3 car. And then in the number 2 spot, we have Kyle Holden. Number 3, Andrew Hale. Starting in 4th, James Harris. 5th, Stephen Gibson. And 6th, Sheldon Pearson. 7th, Justin Levine. And 8th, our winner from last week, Keegan Sabilo, in that double 7. And 9th, William Mann Jr. and John Lacido breaking into the top 10 this weekend.
11th place, George Young. 12th, Stephen Shepard. 13th, Jason Taylor. 14th, Brian Thacker. 15th, Tyler Meeks. 16th, Eli Childs. Of course, I do believe who is going to actually be race control here tonight. 17th, Brandon Ball. And, of course, 18th, Jessica Childs. So that rounds out our 18-car field, possibly 17-car, as we have 120 laps. I actually thought this race was going to be 150, so a little bit shorter than I expected here.
Yeah, I expected this race to be a lot longer as well. As we were talking about the fuel window, coming into tonight, you were mentioning to me before we went live here, Brian, that the fuel window is 95 laps at this much shorter track than what we've been to this season. So it is going to be definitely something to watch when it comes to fuel window, fuel strategy, obviously tires as well. We saw a big mix-up when it came to strategy last week. Obviously, Keegan Sabilo did something that we really didn't expect, pitted at much different times than everybody else, and ended up coming out with the win. Obviously, this is a much different track. It's much smaller. Passing, may be a lot harder tonight, and I'm excited to see the action going on here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely am as well. And even though, last week it was a little bit of a different pit strategy that won him that race, I think that could still happen here tonight. This is a place that can burn up tires quite a bit. Of course, love Richmond. It has a lot of two groove kind of aspects to it, a lot like Iowa. Of course, Iowa actually was built as a kind of in the image of this racetrack by Rusty Wallace. But of course, this is the originator. There is a lot of side by side here, but the bottom groove I think is going to be where you're going to see the majority of the drivers trying to drive at as we get ready for the pace car to pull down pit road. Of course, Craig Ganzak has chosen the top side. This is an interesting decision as we enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out for the first time here tonight at Richmond Raceway, and it looks like they are side by side going to be entering turn one. You see Ganzak goes very, very wide, gets a huge run into 1 and 2, very sweeping, big sweeping corner there for Ganzak. Very well done there, as you see, of course, Andrew Hale trying to get to the inside, I do believe, of James Harris, not quite able to get there.
Yeah, of course, and seems like there's a little bit of banking there in turn one, so that may have helped out Craig Ganzak here coming into turn number one, and he really got the move done on Holden there in that 59 truck, and that was a great move by Craig Ganzak to take the lead here early in this race.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely knew exactly what he was doing, and of course he is, I do believe, one of our prior champions, not the reigning champion, but has definitely held a championship title in this series before, so no wonder he's does things with such confidence. Of course, we have seen, I do believe, Andrew Hale, who was trying to work on James Harris. He has now fallen back to 5th place. Sheldon Pearson has moved up to 4th. Of course, Justin Levine has been the one that everybody's been talking about all season long. He sits in that 6th place position at the moment. Of course, he is actually working on, I do believe, Stephen Gibson at the moment. So that battle, should I say he's actually working on Andrew Hale. Looks like we have some problems here. I do believe that is the 56 of Brian Thacker. Brings out the yellow flag on lap number 4. Looks like Thacker, maybe a self-spin. We're going to take a look back and see exactly what happened here to the 56.
Yeah, and it seems like he may have gotten a bit loose, Brian, as we were talking here before the race. There is going to be a lot of this going on here tonight, and it seems like at the moment he just, well, I guess we haven't seen it yet.
I think he might have had a little bit of help.
13. Yeah, it seems like the 13 of, I believe, who is that?
That was Steven Shepard.
Yeah, it may have been the 13 of Steven Shepard, correct, that got into the rear of Brad Thacker's truck and really just spun him around. Seems like Brad Thacker could not keep it together and could not save after that contact with Steven Shepard, and that 56 of just got around of Brad Thacker.
Yeah, I feel like Steven Shepard. I talked about this being a problem spot. I feel like Shepard might have been trying to avoid the wall and just over kind of corrected down into the 56. So unfortunate there. And you see the huge hit that the 56 took also on the inside wall, front nose damage. These guys do have one fast repair, so unfortunately he's probably going to end up having to use that fast repair here early.
Of course, we see a couple of other guys coming into the pits as well. Keegan Sabilo coming into the pits early, that 48 of Young as well, and we see the 7 of Meeks coming in as well, and obviously Brad Thacker into the pits as well after some contact. I'm interested to see if any of these other guys, Sabilo, Young, or Meeks, got into a little bit of a mess here early on. It seems like the pace car is out at the moment, so maybe we have a little bit of a caution here going on, Brian?
Yeah, definitely. The caution is out. But I do want to give a shout out to the title sponsor here of this series, Champion Power Equipment. Of course, looking for reliable and high performance power equipment to help you tackle any job? Look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Champion has you covered with top of the line products at affordable prices. And as the proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, we're excited to bring you even more power and performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. And I do believe the pace car light should be going out this time by here. As you can see, Craig Ganzak, I have a sneaking suspicion he's getting ready to choose the top again. It seemed like it worked well for him the first time, so I expect it's probably going to work well for him this time.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think that turn 1 is really in Craig Ganzak's favor, as we see a little bit of banking going on there. And I think if Craig Ganzak really sets it up well, he can maybe go high, and then that banking will bring him right back down ahead of the 59 of Stephen Holden. So it's going to be...
Stephen Holden, that's a new driver in the series.
Stephen Holden, I'm sorry. I think I read the wrong name here. Kyle Holden.
Is
I
that Kyle's brother?
apologize. It may be, but I think I know a Stephen Holden somewhere else out there because this is definitely Kyle Holden. My apologies here, Brian.
Kyle's gonna send you an angry, upset email. But here goes the pace car down pit road as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone, and the green flag flies for the second time. Bottom line stacks up. Kyle Holden not able to get going, and Craig Yanzak takes off as we're still side by side for second place. Sheldon Pearson might have an opportunity here. He's going to possibly get clear for second, and he does. Kyle Holden definitely had a huge issue. He's going to be taken 3 wide with James Harris on the bottom here.
And look who else is right behind him. That 33 of Levine with a full head of steam right behind the 88 of Pearson. Seems like he's making moves earlier on here. He did start in 6th. Now he's up to 3rd. And Levine making moves on the restart. And Stephen Holden falls back to 5th. Not a good restart. Sorry, I said Stephen again. Goodness gracious. The 59 of Holden falls back to 5th. Goodness gracious. There better be a Steven somewhere in this grid and in this race, because goodness gracious.
There is in 12th.
But yeah,
a little bit further back there, we actually see some battling going on. I do believe Keegan Sabilo, last week's winner, fighting with Jason Taylor. Speaking of Steven Shepard, in the middle, 3 wide. Whoa, he almost got into I do believe, the right side of Jason Taylor. That could have ended poorly right there, but luckily it didn't. Man, Shepard's got a lot of confidence there in that 13 right there.
And of course, in that 13 of Shepard, we've obviously seen 3 wide at different tracks, but this is a much smaller track, so 3 wide. And we see it here again with the 15, the 13, and the 7 of Sabilo. All these guys are really leaving nothing on the table, and they are leaving nothing to rest here as they are going to kind of stick a nose in there as well. We've seen it at other tracks here, Brian, where 3 wide isn't that surprising, but this week, this is a much smaller track. Obviously, the walls are a lot closer, and I'm really surprised to see these guys really leaving nothing on the table for each other here.
Yeah, this is not the track you usually see a whole lot of 3 wide action, but these guys are definitely not disappointing. As you could tell, every position I think is important, and I think that's what really we're seeing here is just how important track position is. As of course we see Justin Levine trying to take away second position side by side with Sheldon Pearson. This is actually one of the best races I think we've seen Sheldon Pearson really compete in. We usually don't see him in the top 5, let alone up into top 3. But it looks like he's going to lose second spot to Justin Levine as Levine now does get clear into turn 3.
And it seems like you were right about that inside as Levine leaves nothing out there and slides down the inside of the 88 of Pearson and takes away second position from Pearson.
Yeah, taking a look at the tire fall off, though, we're seeing a lot of that, actually. Sheldon Pearson actually is the one that is falling off, I think, the most at the moment. Fastest lap he's turned tonight was a 22.281. Last time by 22.847. So already above a half a second of fall off. Well, I don't know. Last time by he kind of equalized a little bit here. So we'll have to wait and see. But we are seeing consistent fall off throughout the field, though, at least a couple tenths. And I think it's going to continue to get worse and worse as we go on.
Yeah, of course, and you were talking about the competitiveness of the 33 of Levine, and it seems like now he is closing in at Craig Yanzak. The gap's only at 0.3 at the moment, and it seems like Levine is really reeling in Craig Yanzak here at the moment. And you were talking about Craig Yanzak and the fact that this guy knows how to lead races. I don't want the commentator's curse to go on here for Craig Yanzak. I admire the guy and everything that he's done, but we saw it here in the little series that we had for fun before this this bigger championship that's going on right now. And Craig Yanzak, when it comes to breaking points and when it comes to really tight tracks, it seems like Craig Yanzak can really adapt to tracks like that, and he has been absolutely class under braking and in everything. He is super consistent, Brian.
Here we go. I do believe we're going to get a pass for third place. Sheldon Pearson under fire from James Harris. And it looks like Harris is on the inside. And no, I definitely agree with what you're saying about Craig Yanzak. He's very talented. He seems to be very good when it comes to braking. But watch out. I think Justin Levine might have something. I think he might have his number. And that's the sad thing about it is last season when we saw Robbie Keneally really throw, the gloves off and really, really beat Craig Yanzak fairly. He beat him pretty good. I mean, but this season, Craig Ganzak was probably like, well, I haven't seen Robbie Keneally. I think I got a good shot at the championship this season. And here comes Justin Levine. But we got a big battle going on right now at the moment. I do believe Andrew Hale is actually fighting pretty hard with the 73 of John Lucido. This is for the 6th place position. You can see Lucido is starting to struggle a little bit, I'd say, and Hale is just getting some pace under that machine.
Yeah, of course, and we're starting to see the difference of lines here. Some of these guys choose a higher line, maybe go a little bit higher when it comes to braking, and then they swing that truck, and when it comes to just hitting the apex in these turns, and it seems like they're doing all a great job, but it's going to be something to watch when it comes to tire wear here. I am not too sure of the tire wear as we see a move here for, I believe it's 4th place, and the 59 of Holden sends it down the inside of the 88 of Pearson, and Pearson was in 3rd place at one point in this race, and it seems like he has fallen off completely as we see Levine here up the rear end of Craig Ganzak, the 33 on the 3, and I mentioned it earlier, Levine seems super comfortable here at this racetrack, and he is really making the most out of everything here. Catching up to Craig Ganzak, it seems like Levine is just much more comfortable when it comes to the shorter circuits. You mentioned it here before, Brian. That 33 of Levine is super competitive when it comes to short tracks like this.
Oh, yeah, he definitely is. I mean, he's competitive at every track we see. He seems like he's very good at saving tire and being fast at the same time, which is something that a lot of drivers struggle with being able to do that. You're either really good at saving tire or you're really good at being fast, but you're not good at both. But Levine seems like he is that driver that seems to be good at both. And I think exactly what's going through the 33's mind right now is he's like, hey, I'm going to continue to put pressure on Craig Ganzak, make him look behind him instead of ahead. And I think that's the goal right now. Kind of to try to stay in his rearview mirror, make him look at his relative and be worried to where he'll miss his marks and make a mistake.
Yeah, of course, and obviously Craig Ganzak here is going to be seeing a lot of the 33 in that grid vision livery in his rear view mirrors. And if I was Craig Ganzak here, I don't know if I'd really fight that much with the 33 of Levine, as cautions, as we've already seen 7 laps into this race, cautions are going to be maybe pretty frequent here in this racetrack. Obviously much smaller, racing is closer, and it's going to be much harder for these guys to keep these trucks under wraps. As we see the 4 and the 73 going at it here at the moment. John Lucido and Hale really just, and we're like, the draft isn't that big here, but it's going to be who breaks later into these turns, Brian.
Yeah, I think they've been battling for several laps, so I don't know when it's going to end up going either way. I think that Andrew Hale has definitely been like a gnat flying around the 73. I'm sure eventually he's going to get tired of him. Or just like I was saying, we got side by side for the lead right now. Here comes Justin Levine to the inside. Oh, they're getting close, a little too close for comfort here, as Craig Ganzak's running the top, trying to defend against this onslaught from the 33. As they go on to the front stretch, still side by side. Ganzak still scored his leader. He successfully defends.
Yeah, it seems like Craig Ganzak has really good grip when it comes to the outside, and that's not really surprising because he did decide to start on the outside here at the start of the race and on the restart. Honestly, I don't think there's that much difference when it comes to the high side and the low side. Obviously, Levine sends it in there really late under braking and tries to stick it on the inside, but it seems like he doesn't have the grip to really get ahead of Craig Ganzak, as Ganzak seems like he's starting to pull away just a bit here from Levine, but Levine's still right up his rear end.
Well, this is, I think the bottom line is the best place to go. I mean, I think momentum-wise, you can run the top to middle groove and really get a lot more momentum through the straightaways. But I think that this track is somewhat a multi-groove racetrack, but I think in all reality, it is single groove. You want to kind of arc the corners. And when you see Levine get underneath Craig Ganzak, it's hard for him to pass because he's not able to get the throttle down on the exits of the corners. Because when you put the throttle down, these trucks have a tendency to go higher up the racetrack. So, and when that happens, he wants to avoid hitting Craig Ganzak. So he's not able to get the power down as quick as he would like to.
Yeah, of course, and we're obviously seeing that here whenever, we saw it earlier, whenever Levine tried to send it down the inside on Craig Ganzak, but Ganzak seems like he just really held that outside line and was giving nothing to Levine, as Levine is still trailing behind Craig Ganzak, but for how long, Brian?
I don't know. I think that Levine has kind of resigned himself to just kind of hang out, and see what happens. Just continue to pressure him. I'll tell you, we're starting to see a little bit of drama back here for this sixth place position. Hale has been almost, if he's almost been bumping the 73. He looks like he's willing to move him out of the way, and I think Lucido, I think is he's like, I'm just gonna get out of the way here because I keep seeing the 4 tagging the rear bumper of the 73. I don't know. This ain't done yet. Looks like the 73 still wants to tango here. But watch out for this. This could end up coming to blows.
As Hale still on the inside of that 73 of Lucido. Is he going to try and move down the inside? And I think this may be it, Brian. I think Hale's going to be clear. Can he get it done coming down the straight? And he can't. Seems like Lucido has the grip on the outside and is able to get that throttle down just as much as he wants. As Hale gets ahead by inches at the moment, and Lucido coming back still. And Hale is not going to let Lucido get away with it, as we are going to keep going here. And Hale, I think this may be it. Can he slide over a little bit? Maybe crowd that 73 of Lucido? He can't, as Lucido has much more speed down the straight than Hale. But how long can Lucido hold that outside without killing his tires here, Brian? That's my question.
Yeah, no, I think that is the major question, because I think that, Lucido is really able to hold a lot more speed, especially on the straightaways. But it looks like I think Hale's got it. No, he almost had it. Oh, my goodness, he almost had it.
I think he may get under braking here in turn number 1. Can he get clear of John Lucido? And I think he may get it done. That 4 now clear of the 73, and Lucido is coming back down the back straight. Lucido's still there, that 73, and Andrew Hale is not going to let him get away with it. Hale is now fully clear of the 73 of Lucido, but can Lucido cross him over? And he can't. John Lucido is just going to have to follow the 4 of Hale here.
He almost tried to bump him back out of the way. I don't know if Lucido's upset, but I don't think Hale was doing anything wrong. But all this has done is really brought Keegan Sabilo, last week's winner, into this picture. He has now caught them. And I think that all this battling that these guys have just been doing has been for nothing, considering Sabilo hadn't been battling anybody. He's got fresher tires. That's one thing about it, that these guys, the more you battle, the less resources you have. Look at how quickly Sabilo has caught up to Lucido, and look at also how quickly Andrew Hale is pulling away from Lucido now that he's gotten in front of him.
Yeah, of course. Seems like Andrew Hale was just much quicker than Lucido when it came down to the braking. Seems like he was braking a little bit later and could really get the momentum keep the momentum of the truck up. Obviously, this is a much lower speed track, and momentum is really going to be something super important here for these guys, as we see the 77 of Sabilo trying to send it down the inside on the 73 of Lucido. Can Sabilo get it done? Our race winner from last week now trying to make the move on the 73 of Lucido. This is really important for Sabilo here. He did pit earlier on in this race, but he's now back up to 8th. Can he get it done? He's ahead by inches from that 73 of Lucido. And Keegan Sabilo, they are still side by side here, Brian, as I think Keegan Sabilo may get it done through this turn. But Lucido has been really good at keep the momentum of this truck up when it comes down the straights, but Sabilo is still side by side with Lucido. This is going to be interesting, and I think the 77 of Sabilo is clear now of the 73 of Lucido, and that's going to really release Keegan Sabilo here to get on the charge.
Those are some tongue acrobatics you said right there. Sabilo, Lucido, you said it like, wow. I'm surprised you were able to say all that, man. But yeah, good job for Keegan to be able to get that pass done. Man, I'll tell you what, you got a pretty acrobatic.
Well, Brian, Spanish is my first language.
But you can say that.
Yeah. and I completely agree here, as we see Levine still behind Craig Ganzek. And Levine, Brian, has just been super patient with that leader of Craig Ganzek here at the moment. Ganzek and Levine is not that much of a mouthful, but here we go, coming up to lap 45.
Yeah, I mean, and these guys have been the class of the field right now. I mean, they've pulled away quite substantially from third place. And it looks like Andrew Hale's actually going to make the pass on Sheldon Pearson. Is on. It looks like Andrew Hale does get clear. Pearson really was looking like he had the best race of his career, kind of for tonight. He was up in the top 3, but it looks like he just does not have the long run pace. Right now, he's running the slowest laps actually on the racetrack, except for Steven Shepard and Tyler Meeks, who are back in 14th and I do believe 15th. So he's going to really have to do something here. I don't know if maybe he's just burning his equipment up with the way he's driving it, but he definitely needs to figure out what's going on, take it back to the drawing board. I think it's got to be something to do with him burning his stuff up, driving it in too deep or something like that.
Yeah, of course, and it seems like he is really just falling off here. That 88 of Pearson seems like he's going to get passed now by the 77 of Sabilo. I don't know if he can go back to that battle out here at the moment, and Sabilo is side by side with the 88 of Shepard, and you were saying it here, Brian, that 77 of Sabilo is now clear of Pearson. And Pearson, seems like you were right here, Brian. He has really just eaten up his equipment. Seems like tires aren't at his side at the moment. He got a great restart, but now he's completely fallen off of the pace here.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Keegan. He's actually running the fastest laps on the track, except for, I do believe, Kyle Holden. Holden is running some really good laps. He actually just got by James Harris for that third place position. Holden, of course, qualified on the outside pole. Had a bad restart, but he has been slowly but surely climbing his way back up to where he, I think, was before. He's still got about 1.5 seconds to get up to Justin Levine, but he's running a little bit faster than those guys ahead. I think that he's just been taking care of his equipment here. But going back to the 77 of Keegan Sabilo, I talked about him a little bit last week. This guy has real-life short track experience. You know, he drives in late models, and this is a short track. So he's drawing on that, I do believe, that experience.
Yeah, of course. And when we talked to him last week, Brian, I don't know if you remember, Keegan was actually telling us that he wasn't that excited for this race. Coming in the post-race interviews, he had told us that he wasn't that comfortable here in these short tracks when it came to iRacing. He obviously does have the experience on real racetracks and real cars, and it seems like tonight Keegan Sabilo was wrong, and he is really showing his class here tonight. But it's going to be something to watch, Brian. I am not sure. Keegan Sabilo did pit earlier on in this race, so I'm interested to see if he did put on new tires, and that's why he's been so quick here in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, looking at the time he spent in his box, 4.5 seconds, I think he just took gas. So I don't think that's really why he's so fast right now. He's definitely running really good laps, though. I mean, he's second quick, I do believe, on the racetrack at the moment. Of course, Craig Ganzak last time by was the fastest, so that's kind of interesting to see. Going back up to the front, looking at Craig Ganzak, he, of course, has been under fire from Justin Levine this entire time. But that is not the case anymore. Like last time by, Yanzak was a 10th faster than Levine. I think that Yanzak was kind of playing a trick on Levine to make him, kind of attack him harder. And Yanzak was just like, hey, I'm just going to hit this lap time every time. I know what lap times I need to hit in order to have a long run. And we're getting closer to where I think a lot of these guys might even consider green flag stops. Of course, we talked about the fuel window being about 95 laps. Well, I don't know if you really want to stay out here for that long. I think that you really would want to split the race in half and probably go down around 60, 65, maybe 70. So I think very soon we're going to start to see green flag stops. Now, speaking of tires, though, which is what these guys would, the reason that they would go down pit road, split it in half, they're falling off over a second right now. So tires are very valuable here at this racetrack.
Yeah, of course. And now, as we're watching the 3 of Craig Yanzak and that 33 of Levine, we are seeing a big difference in lines here as Craig Yanzak chooses the lower line. Seems like he's now starting to go a little bit higher, and Levine chooses that higher line, really rides it right up against the wall. And it's going to be something to watch when it comes to tires. I'm wondering if Levine is trying to save tires here at the moment. I don't know if that's going to degrade his tires a lot more, or if Craig Yanzak's the one wasting his tires, choosing that bottom line, as we're seeing a lot more guys start going up against the wall, choosing the wider line when it comes to these turns, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think Levine's saving tires by doing that. I think that he's doing that as kind of like he's getting desperate. I think that's what he's kind of getting, is desperate. I think he sees that Yanzak is not falling off as much as he thought he was going to be falling off. He thought that he was going to be able to really just get up there and lead and drive off from him, but it has not been as simple as that. So he's trying to experiment a little bit. I think that's what's happening. Of course, we're starting to see lap traffic being involved as we see Yanzak has caught up to Tyler Meeks, of course, who's back there in the 15th position. And all this is doing as well is bringing Kyle Holden closer and closer to these guys. Kyle Holden is about 1.3 seconds back.
And here we go. Lap traffic is going to have a lot to do here. As we see it now, I think Levine and Janzak are side by side at the moment as the 7 of Meeks gets out of the way for these two guys, and that brings Levine right back into play. And we see in the background that 59 of Holden is starting to close up that gap, but he has to get past the 7 of Meeks and lap traffic. This is a much shorter track, and we are going to start to see it take effect here for our leaders. And the 33 of Levine right up the rear of that 3 of Janzak. So I'm really excited to see how this race is going to play out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Tyler Meeks handles Kyle Holden, because I mean, we saw the way he handled these leaders, like Craig Janzak. You don't want to let the leader go, because that means you're going to go a lap down. Oh, little contact with the wall there. Tyler Meeks is definitely struggling right now. Here comes.
Oh, and here we go.
Levine to the inside. Big move here. Craig Janzak has moved up to the top.
When he slides up. Goodness gracious, thought they were going to make contact there for a second, but Craig Janzak, you were right, Brian. He did take the higher line there, and Levine took advantage of it and tried to send it down the inside, but couldn't get it done.
If I was in Levine's shoes or I was in Kyle Holden's shoes, I would think about go ahead and coming down pit road to try to see if I can't, because it seems like it's very difficult to pass. I would try to pass him on pit road. Get out there, run a couple extra laps, faster than them on the newer tires, and then when they come out, they're going to have to try to get around you, so it's the shoe on the other foot. I think if I was Levine, I would probably try to do that.
Yeah, of course, and obviously we have seen a big drop-off here, as you were mentioning before, Brian. The lap times have gone down by a second. The best times being in the 22s, and at the moment, these guys are running in the 23-second laps. So definitely something to watch when it comes to tire strategy. Some of these guys are coming down pit road at the moment. I believe that Steven Gibson Jr. deciding to come down the pit, and James Harris as well is coming down the pits. I think if I'm these guys here deciding to come in, new tires is the way to go, as we have gone half the length of this race already. So it seems like 1 second is the fall off here when it comes to tires. But I think if we're going fuel for 95 laps, I think fuel just a little bit to make it here to the end, and new tires to make it the rest of this way. And tire strategy and pit strategy is going to have a lot to do here, Brian, as we mentioned here before, as we see the 88 of Sheldon Pearson also deciding to come in as he was falling off, and it seems like his tire drop-off was a lot more than everybody else's.
Yeah, the battle for the lead has still been raging. I mean, just a second ago, Craig Janzak and Levine were side by side again, and they're both kind of running up high. Levine sometimes shoots low. Oh, here comes Craig Janzak. He's coming down pit road. Interesting decision. I like this. I like this call from Janzak, because I mean, like I was saying, I was kind of trying to, if Levine was listening, I was trying to advise him to short pit Janzak, but Janzak just took that option completely off the table by going down pit road here.
Yeah, of course, and Craig Janzak decides to pull the trigger here on tires, and it seems like he is going to get it done here. The 33 of Levine. Yeah, Levine is definitely going to have to really be pushing on that in lap. It seems like he was, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get it done here, Brian. He is obviously a little bit of a lap up on the 3 of Craig Janzak, as we see this field is going to start to shape out coming here after Craig Janzak and that 33 of Levine come out of the pits. So definitely something to watch here.
Here comes Kyle Holden. Oh, Holden! I think he might have just caught the barrel a little bit there. Oh, no. Can't hardly see. I think, yeah, there's some right side damage on that truck now. That is not what you want to do there. Taking a look through the hood camera, roof camera, I should say.
Yeah, and that's definitely not going to help him out here. Seems like he came in a little bit too hot and just slaps the outside, slaps the tanks on pit entry, and that's really going to mess up that Sim Search livery here.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be okay. We'll wait and see. I mean, of course, I think he's going to lose. For waiting as long as he did, I think he's going to lose positions anyway here. But, of course, Craig Janzak is, I do believe, going to be your overall leader at the moment. Of course, temporary leader, though, is Keegan Sobilo, last week's winner. As I do believe we're seeing John Lucido possibly coming down. Yep.
Yeah, I believe John Lucido is coming into the pits. William Mann Jr. as well, and Sobilo, our winner from last week, deciding a much different strategy than everybody else once again here, Brian. Keegan Sobilo has had many different strategies, and last week it seems like it worked out for him. Can it work out for him this week?
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to work. Tell you what, though, he just got lapped, or he just the leader, or should I say, Craig Ganzak just got his lap back. What really interests me here is look at the gap between Craig Ganzak and Justin Levine. It's 2 seconds. What happened on pit road that caused a 2-second gap? I'm looking at Craig Ganzak's box time, 13.9 seconds in the box. That's pretty quick. Levine, 14.2. That still does not account for how they have now 2 seconds difference now. I mean, and one lap doesn't cause that either. So this is kind of interesting to see. I'm wondering, maybe Levine maybe made some mistakes on the execution of pit road here. And this might have completely taken him out of the race, because I mean, he is 2 seconds is quite a large margin for. I bet Ganzak's breathing a pretty good sigh of relief, but I don't know though. Looking at how he's got to deal with Steven Shepard here and William Mann Jr., he's got a lot of lap traffic to deal with. That could bring Levine back into the picture.
Yeah, of course. And Levine seems like, I think he really struggled here with lap traffic, just getting through, and it seems like Craig Ganzak really just chose the right moves on that newer set of tire. But is Craig Ganzak wasting that tire when it comes to making moves? And Keegan Sabilo still out, hasn't decided to come in at the moment. So Keegan Sabilo, I think his strategy coming in here is he's going to wait for those other tires to fall off, and he's going to come into pit row to put on that new set of tires. But is he going to be quick enough to really charge up the field to try to make a move on Craig Ganzak and Levine? I don't know if it's going to be enough, Brian.
No, I think what he's trying to do here is he's hoping that some type of caution will come out. I think that's exactly. There's no way, even on newer tires, he's going to be able to drive his way back up at all. So I think that this is kind of a desperate gamble. But I do want to take us back to Kyle Holden, who we saw made that mistake on pit road. He actually got a penalty for that. 54.3 seconds or 5 seconds in the box that he had to spend actually serving a penalty. So, unfortunately, I think he got an unsafe pit entry there. So, that's going to kill his night. Started on the outside pole, and, man, that's just unfortunate here. So, see Keegan Sabilo still out here on the racetrack. Almost 3 wide there is Tyler Meeks, James Harris. They're all trying to get by here.
Yeah, and Keegan Sabilo obviously still out as we see a battle of 3 as Keegan Sabilo right behind that 4 of Hale. And I think Sabilo is starting to lose the lap that he did have, the lap advantage that he had over these guys. Seems like these guys are passing him up here, as I think at the moment he's trying to lap that 7 of Meeks, and Meeks is really not going to be willing to go a lap down to the interim race leader here at the moment, as Meeks sits in 6th, and Sabilo, this isn't going to help him out when it comes to tire wear, as he is going to fight with that 7 of Meeks, and I think Sabilo has to pull the trigger here at some point and come into the pits if there isn't a caution. We've obviously seen a lot of clean racing here, Brian, surprisingly, but we see the respect that these guys give each other when it comes to racing side by side. And I think we may even go green for the rest of this race. So Keegan Sabilo is really going to have to decide if he's going to come in for tires or he's going to just really stick it out and try to hold off that 3 of Craig Ganzak as that gap is coming down by the second. 13 seconds Craig Ganzak is behind, and that 33 of Levine is now a 1.5 seconds behind that 3 of Craig Ganzak. So I think we have a fight here in our hands, Brian.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it looks like Levine definitely has kind of caught up a little bit to Ganzak. That definitely could be something that goes right. I don't know. I think that we still could have a caution. And I think that Keegan, I know you're saying, hey, you probably need to go ahead and go down pit road. I don't think so. I think he has already made his bed. He might as well just run it out till the fuel's empty. I mean, he's got, if the fuel window is what we think it is, 95 laps, he's 76 laps into his stint. Remember that there was caution on lap 4. He went down pit road, took a little splash of gas, came back out. So he still has, I'd say, about 10 or 15 laps that he can, about 15 or so laps that he can still go. And if a caution happens in that time, he's going to look like a genius.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, Keegan Sabilo has proved us wrong here before, as we see the 29 and that 56 of Brad Thacker going side by side. That's William Mann Jr. and Brad Thacker here, as William Mann Jr. gets ahead of the 56 of Brad Thacker. And
Yeah.
here we have another battle here of I believe it's Andrew Hale on the 55 of James Harris. This is going to be a battle to see who can catch up. And I think this may be the battle for the third spot here. The final spot on the podium is James Harris trails Andrew Hale. We've seen Andrew Hale has been quick here, and it seems like he really got his work cut out for him when it came to James Harris. But James Harris seems like he's falling off now here from the Bass Pro livery, that number 4 of Andrew Hale.
Yeah, Andrew Hale's definitely been looking good, and he's been consistent. I think that he's just been consistent all season long. Of course, at the moment, he is second in the points. I haven't really talked a whole lot about this sport, but I tell you, he's been just looking really, really good. It's not easy to come out here and fight against a guy like James Harris. I mean, Harris has, got a lot of good finishes underneath his belt. So definitely, I don't take anything away from Andrew Hale. He's been able to do a lot here. Of course, he still does about like 6.5 seconds to get up to Justin Levine, but Levine has closed in quite substantially on Janczak. 6/10 right now separate second and third, and of course that is probably going to be the race for the lead right there. As of course you see Janczak's dealing with a lot of lap traffic. I think that's Brad Thacker he just had to get around, as Thacker's going to try to cross him back over.
Yeah, and Brad Thacker is not going to want to go a lap down here to that 3 of Craig Janczak, because I think Thacker knows that Janczak will inherit the lead at some point in this race. And Brian, we can't fail to mention, we've been so excited about the racing here tonight. We have had no time for our sponsors, and you know how good you read these commercials, Brian.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely want to talk about some of our sponsors here, of course, with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Green Mountain Grills. We all love barbecue. I know I sure do. Green Mountain Pellet Grills are top-of-the-line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. GMG also offers the highest quality grills, dry rubs, sauces, and pellets, but not at the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com for online purchases, recipes, and much more. Of course, I want to go ahead and read out another one of these guys as sponsor. That being Blackstone Management Partners. Blackstone Management Partners guarantees an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services required to keep their dynamic brands thriving and one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communication, talent management, and even event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state-of-the-art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause-driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com. Definitely appreciate all the partners here with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. As the racing intensifies, of course, Justin Levine still right there on the rear end of Craig Janczak. I'll tell you who's closing in, though, on the end of the fuel window is Keegan Sobilo.
Yeah, it seems like Sabilo did decide to come in after a really long stint on that set of tires and a little bit of splash of fuel that we saw him take earlier on in this race when we saw our first caution here. And Sabilo falls back to 12th. We have 28 laps here left in this race. I don't know that's going to be enough time for Keegan Sabilo to really make his way up the grid and up the field. I'm sorry, and he has done it here in the past before. We saw it last week. That being the earliest example. I'm not going to count Keegan Sabilo out just yet. He may have much better pace than the guys ahead, but obviously time is running out for Keegan Sabilo. As we see the 33 of Levine really getting up the rear end of that number 3 of Craig Janczak, and that gap is coming down by the second. The gap is now down to 2/10 at the moment, as we see Craig Janczak, and I said it here earlier on this race, Brian, lap traffic is going to have a lot to do when it comes to the fight for the lead here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They are going to be battling here, and of course, there's going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be right there in the mix, and that they're going to have an effect on the results of this race. I have no doubts of it. As of course, you see Craig Janczak running around the top. Look at Levine. He's like, even though William Mann Jr. is on the bottom, I'm going to go to the bottom. 3 wide. Oh, this could go poorly. 4 wide contact. As William Mann Jr., how did that stay green? How did we stay green after that? Considering William Mann Jr. had some contact to his rear, it's not over yet.
Oh, Janczak! Craig Janczak makes it through, but barely. And there is a race going on here in two sides of the field, as we see the battle for the lead here in between the 33 of Levine and that 3 of Craig Janczak, as he gets a little bit looser, and Levine is going to take the lead of this race out of the hands of Craig Janczak. Can he get it done? He can't for the moment. And I think that's a 29 here of I'm not too sure, but the 29 of Willie Mann Jr. Yeah, Willie Mann Jr. and John Lucido are in a fight there. The 88 of Pearson in there as well, as we see even more cars. And I think the 33 of Levine made it past the 3 of Craig Yanzak. Seems like Yanzak really got lagged behind the traffic. And Keegan Sabilo up there in the mix as well, who cannot afford to go a lap down here, Brian.
Sabilo actually just took his lap back. He was on such better tires than these guys. He was back in 12th. He has now driven his way all the way up to 8th. Wow, that's crazy. Of course, he still has about 4.5 seconds to get up there to John Lucido to take that position away, I do believe. But man, this has been nuts. Levine, of course, up into the lead. I guarantee you, Craig Anzac is not going to be sending any love letters to William Mann Jr. I guarantee you, he's not very happy with that 29. I can guarantee that right now.
And I completely agree here. I wouldn't be happy either, but we do have to recognize that there is a battle going on there further on back with the 48 of Young and that 7 of Meeks and the 29 of William Mann Jr. So these guys obviously didn't want to lose position to the guys that they were racing, as we see the 59 of Holden in there as well. He is 2 laps down. It seems like he's out of contention for this race. Really, he isn't going to be able, I don't think he's going to be able to get a lap back on these guys, as we did see him take a penalty here for unsafe pit entry, as we see Craig Yanzak there falling a little bit behind that 33 of Levine. The gap's now at half a second here, Brian.
Yeah, who knew this was going to be how this kind of worked out? I mean, wow. I mean, I thought I was counting out Levine after that green flag stop. He had lost about, got a 2-second deficit on Yanzak, but lo and behold, lap traffic definitely seems like it helped him out. He's probably going to be sending some thank you cards to some of these guys out here, but I don't think it's quite over yet. Looking at last time by, Yanzak was a couple hundredths actually faster than Levine. I think that this could still be hot. I mean, and could we even still see a late race caution? See these guys get some fresh tires on their cars, and could we see even someone else come up here and possibly battle for this win here? I mean, I don't know what to expect. I mean, this race has surprised me at every turn.
Yeah, of course, and you counted him out. That 77 of Keegan Sabilo, he is now lapping a half a second faster than these guys by the lap, even a second faster than some of the guys ahead of him here at the moment. Keegan Sabilo is in clean air at the moment, so it is going to help him out, but he does have to carve his way through the traffic of that 73 of Lucido, the 88 of Pearson, and the 19 of Gibson, who are going to give him absolutely nothing. And even when he gets up closer to this lead, nobody's going to really let Keegan Sabilo going on here. As mentioned before, he is a rookie, and he has really made a name for himself here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. And Keegan Sabilo on the charge at the moment with 17 to go. But will it be enough?
No, it won't be. He's not going to be able to get up to the lead. He's right now 17 seconds in between him and the leader, Justin Levine. That is just too much time for him to make up, but he very much could drive up to 5th. Very well could. As we take a look back, and I do believe the pass that Sabilo made, this is actually when Yanzak had that big difficulty with William Mann Jr. And look at the move from Sabilo here. This is a amazing move that he takes advantage of this situation that could have been the worst thing ever, but he turned it into a great thing for himself. But look at this. I mean, he just had better tires than everybody. He saw that they were racing each other hard. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna get by everybody. We'll see y'all later."
Yeah, of course, he had the grip, he had the tire, and he was able to get the move done on that 3 of Craig Yanzak there and that 33 of Levine. But I don't know if we can rewind it here a little bit. I want to see how Craig Yanzak lost the lead here to Levine. I'm wondering if he got a little bit loose there, or what happened here, Brian.
Well, I mean, we saw how he got loose. I mean, he got loose because he hit him and William Mann Jr. got into each other. That's how Levine gained the lead.
Oh, okay.
Because, they had some contact. Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of that through that. But yeah, it was definitely based on some contact. I think we're going to take a replay and show exactly what I'm discussing here as we look at Craig Yanzak. If you look at Yanzak, not 76. Looking at Yanzak right here, you can see William Mann Jr. in the 29 right ahead of him.
Yeah,
this is where the lead kind of gets taken away, I do believe. Yeah, he did get loose. Yeah. You are right. You are correct.
Man, Brian, I'm always right. Seems like Craig Ganzak got a little bit loose there under braking, and Levine has all the grip on the outside. Seems like Craig Ganzak just lost some momentum here, and I've talked about it earlier on this race. And these lower speed tracks, momentum is going to be really a big factor, and it has been a big factor here all race long, as Craig Ganzak is going to try to carve down the gap in between him and that 33 of Levine. As we see the field starting to get a little bit spread out here, we do see a little bit of battling, but that's because of the lap traffic in the way at the moment.
Yeah, coming up to 10 laps to go here. Keegan Sabilo, as I mentioned before, I figured he could get up to 5th. He actually is up to 5th now. He has gotten by Stephen Gibson, so definitely good on him. Justin Levine, though, has over a second now on Craig Ganzak, so I don't know. I think Levine's got it. It's pretty much wrapped up. But still, you can't call it until the fat lady sings. Because I mean, I'll tell you, there could easily be a caution still, as we see a lot of close racing. I do believe that is John Lucido and Sheldon Pearson. They're battling for that 7th place spot right now. We've seen, of course, big send here.
Yeah, big send here by the 73 of John Lucido, and that I believe that's the 88, if I'm not mistaken, of Sheldon Pearson. And we've seen these guys go at it this whole race long, but can we talk about the 88 of Pearson here? He started on the front row, I believe. He started in 2nd here in this race, Brian. He's really fallen off a lot, and it seems like he may even get lapped here by the 33 of Levine, who was in the race right now. These guys are obviously still battling. Is this going to bring Craig Ganzak right back into play, as he is going to come up behind this lap traffic, as we see Craig Ganzak, as he has I think that's the 59 of Holden right behind him as well in his draft, and that's going to bring more guys into the battle here, Brian.
I love you to death, brother, and I please don't take this the wrong way. I hate to correct you, but Sheldon Pearson started in 6th place. Kyle Holden started in 2nd.
Goodness gracious, I am getting everything wrong here tonight, Brian, and I absolutely apologize. I guess I'm right when it comes to moves, but when it comes to names, do not count me in.
Of course, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say our producer here, Austin Derbyshire, is going to give me a mulligan here as I keep getting these names wrong, and I apologize, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, Justin Levine, this has been a hard-fought race. I mean, he fought with Craig Ganzak for so long, but he is now taking 5 laps to go. He's got 1.5 seconds up on Craig Ganzak, and it is all pretty much said and done. Still an opportunity, though, for a caution, I know, but most of the field is quite separated. I don't see any real opportunity for a wreck unless it's a self-spin. Of course, Keegan Sabilo is about 3.2 seconds back from James Harris. I think he might have ran out of time as well to get advance his position any further. But yeah, Justin Levine, I think he's been the story of the night. Of course, he is the points leader, and this is going to do nothing but help that points lead grow.
Yeah, of course, and this 5th place finish for Keegan Sabilo is really going to bring him right up to the mix as well. It's going to propel him further up forward. I think he was in 15, if I'm not mistaken here, Brian. I've gotten a lot of things wrong here tonight, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Keegan Sabilo is in 15th.
Yeah, in the points. Yeah, he's in 15th coming into tonight's race, so this could definitely help him out quite a bit. Also, you know, Andrew Hale, this is going to continue to cement him, I do believe, in that 2nd spot in the points. You know, of course, it's going to be a good points day for Craig Ganzak, but I got a feeling that when we interview him in just a little bit, he's going to be a little disappointed. I think we might even hear some choice words from the 3 machine here as we're getting closer and closer to the white flag waving. And of course, Levine into the middle of 3 and 4, exiting onto the front stretch, and the white flag will wave. Final lap. Next flag will end it here at Richmond Raceway. Justin Levine, one more circuit around is all he has to do in order to secure his win, and there's really no one around him that I think could take it away from him. So pretty much I think it's in the bag. Levine's going to cash that check as he exits turn number 4 onto the front stretch, and he will cross the line as your winner here tonight in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series.
And that 33 of Levine wins here in Richmond. What a drive by Levine, and Craig Yanzak coming up short here tonight. He did get involved in a little bit of lap traffic battle, and that did not help him out at all here, Brian. That 3 of Yanzak's going to be very upset, as I believe we may see a little bit of donuts here by Levine. I hope you can hear me. The donuts is what we want to see.
Yeah, I do believe he is going to deliver on that for sure as he comes up to the front stretch to start finish line. And let's let that engine do the talking. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do a quick rundown through the final running order here for tonight's race at Richmond Raceway. Justin Levine, your winner here tonight. Of course, second place is Craig Yanzak. Third place, Andrew Hale. Fourth place, James Harris. Fifth place, Keegan Sobilo. Sixth place, Stephen Gibson. Seventh, John Lacido. Eighth, Sheldon Pearson. Ninth, William Mann Jr. And 10th, George Young.
And 11th, Brad Thacker. 12th, Jason Taylor. 13th, Tyler Meeks. 14th, Stephen Shepard. 15th, Kyle Holden. Obviously started on the front row and could not get it done here tonight after really a penalty that put him out of contention for this race. In 16th, we have Brandon Ball, who I believe did not start this race. Jessica Childs in 17th. And in 18th, Eli Childs, who I think was our safety car driver out here tonight, Brian.
100%. As, of course, we continue to see Justin Levine doing some celebrating out there. We're going to be joined here by our third place finisher, Andrew Hale. You came into tonight's race second place in the points. We haven't talked a whole lot about you, Andrew, but you have been just really, really consistent. And tonight was another consistent race for you. I mean, how does it feel to get third place? Do you think you're going to get a win at some point this season?
The win, I have no clue. There's a lot of fast guys in here. As you've seen tonight, they got out front, left us. I would like a win, but it's going to come on a short track, more than likely.
Well, that's what this is. But I mean, I guess this does have a little bit of different tendencies. It is the action track. It's kind of the super speedway of short track. But you definitely did good, though. You had a good long run pace, it seemed like. What did you do to prepare for tonight's race?
Nothing really. I ran about 15 laps, 10 minutes before we jumped in here, and that was it.
Oh, wow, you did definitely. You did a lot with a little. It sounds like. Of course, next week you talk about short tracks. Well, we're not going to one next week, unfortunately. Actually, we're actually off next week for the 4th of July week. I do believe we're actually coming back on July 11th, Charlotte Motor Speedway. You like short tracks? What do you think of Charlotte? I know that's the opposite of that.
Charlotte's all right. I've ran a couple races there. Not the greatest, but as always, long run speed. I just tend to take care of the tires and pass them once they wear theirs out.
That definitely sounds like a great game plan. That's for sure. Of course, kind of worked out for you tonight in that same regard. Of course, after your third place finish, who can we give a shout out to, Andrew?
Champion Power Equipment, first off, for sponsoring the series. James for doing everything he does to keep the series going, and that'll be it.
All right. Thanks for your time, Andrew, and great job on the third place. We'll see you in a couple weeks, brother.
All right. Thank y'all.
Alrighty, that was Andrew Hale, our third place finisher. Next up, Mr. Caleb Viesca is going to be standing by with Craig Yanzak, our second place finisher.
Yeah, of course. Craig, obviously starting off here on the pole tonight, did not go your way here. Obviously fell a little bit short to that 33 of Levine. Just walk us through what happened there in the lap traffic. I mean, we saw you got there a little bit loose and just couldn't really hold on to it. So just walk us through that, just getting through the traffic here tonight and how you lost the lead here.
Yeah, second place is fine for sure. Can't be too upset with that when you're, racing for a whole season and then, you've been on the wrong side of strategy or junked by others in the other races we've had so far. So second ain't bad. You come up on the lap traffic 3 wide. Sucks to start with. You try to indicate where you're headed the whole straightaway. Hold the line there the whole straightaway. feel like he could probably go 6 wide at Richmond safe and still come out of it. Nah, it's a little exaggeratory, but you could definitely do 4, especially at this talent level, and we just couldn't, one reason or another. So that stunk. I was really hoping to put Levine in a compromised spot there, because I figured, even though we had a better green flag pit stop cycle, we netted, I think, almost 2 seconds throughout the pit stop delta. I knew he was going to get there. He was faster even in the first run, but I was able to defend the way that I wanted to defend. And, the reason I indicated the line that I was going to take there when they were 3 wide in front of me was so that I could continue to have the top side even if we got hung up. But it didn't work out that way. And that's unfortunate for Champion Power Equipment, Digital Sim Sports, Martin PC, Studio 3, everybody that we have representing us here, that we couldn't get the win. But Levine was definitely the best truck, and, the number 1 truck that deserved the win got it. So kudos to him.
Yeah, of course, and obviously we have said it here before on the stream that this is a marathon and not a sprint. So obviously, Craig, you mentioned your sponsors here. How are you feeling going into next week's race?
I will ask you at this point to tell me what next week's race is, because I'm not totally sure myself. But if it's another braking track like this one, I do feel pretty good, especially about our single lap pace. New damage model here wasn't super we think brought along some changes to the fixed setup, and it was it's not something that I was really used to. I was really saving right front heavy to what I thought by backing up corner entry, but it's looking like that actually wore it, because my split on right front wear on the first stop was +14 and my split at the end was +9. So I've got a little bit of figuring out to do on short tracks to figure out how to save the right front better again. Thought we had it down pretty good, but a lot of fixed setup changes here to these trucks. So now we have that. We have some work to do in the lab, I guess.
Sounds good, Craig. Thank you here for joining us tonight. It's been great. Obviously, you've had a lot of one-lap pace. Seems like you're always up there in qualifying. So obviously, have a good rest of your night. And lastly, if you'd like to shout anybody out, I believe you did shout some of your sponsors out. But if you want to do it again, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You will give them a second round here. Champion Power Equipment, not only the league sponsor, but coming on the truck for the season feels good. So appreciate it to them. Elite Performance Industries, definitely an amazing avenue to get your setups, apparel for iRacing, coaching, anything you need. Team Conti guys are amazing. I'm sure potentially the results from the Chicago Street Course may already validate that for me in Coke tonight, but we'll see. Martin PC, Studio 3, Digital Sim Sports, everybody that's a fan of me, everybody that watches every week, and you guys at Good Vision, also amazing. So good to get a second, but we'll look for one spot better in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Craig. As I believe now we will be joined by our race winner at the moment. If he will be joining us, and yes, Mr. Justin Levine, obviously the winner here tonight, and we have Brian standing by with our race winner.
Hey, Justin, great job tonight, man. I mean, it was a hard-fought race. You fought for, I think, the first half trying to get by Craig Janczak, and it just didn't seem like things were going to work out for you. But fortunately, some lap traffic kind of came in and played a little bit of a, spoiler for Janczak. But it seemed like you did have the better truck and the better long run. How frustrating was it the first half trying to get by him?
I had to do everything in my power. The dirty air at this track is huge, and I knew if I didn't get around him before I used up my tires, I was just going to fade the way he did in the second half. And I started using the top, and normally the top only works if you're able to downshift. And I attempted to do it, and I almost snapped it the first time. So I just kept trying to pick at him, and slowly but surely the top came in. He moved up, started giving me dirty air up top. We went back and forth. But that was a lot of fun. I wish the lap cars gave us just a little bit more room. Craig got used up a bit, but it would definitely have been a side-by-side battle for the end of it there.
Yeah, definitely would have been interesting to see how it would have been a straight-up race, because I think that it definitely was turning into that, of course. But it was just a lot of lap traffic. You can't blame them, considering they were actually racing as well for position at the same time. But it was very interesting to see that you were able to run that top line. Usually you don't see that quite as much at Richmond. You see it at more at like a track like Iowa. I know they're very similar, but of course the banking is a little bit more pronounced at Iowa. Did you come in tonight knowing that you could do something like that?
Yes. Was able to do it in Road to Pro this year, and it just was off the charts. You would burn off the right front, you would move up top, and you would just drive it right off the right rear. So you would even out the tire wear, and you would be flying.
Well, that's interesting. Definitely seems like you have hit the ground running here in this series. Of course, you are the points leader, and I'm assuming you are stretching that points lead out here with this win here tonight. Of course, going to be off next week, but the week after that, we're coming back with Charlotte Motor Speedway, and much different racetrack than Richmond. How do you feel about that place?
Oh, one of my favorite tracks. Anything mile and a half up my alley.
Definitely love to hear that for sure, and we can't wait to see what you're able to accomplish. Looks like you're well on your way to possibly getting a championship. Still quite a ways to go, though. Who can we give a shout out to, Justin, after this big win here, and especially in that grid vision in that machine, man? We love to see it. I'm sure the other guys in this series are like, hey, the grid vision guys are giving him more horsepower.
Shout out to you guys. You guys do such an amazing job. Best broadcast team in the sim out there. Shout out to all the admins for putting this on. Champion Power for sponsoring the league. Team Watson, Hyper. The list can go on. But everyone and all the viewers.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Justin. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a great night, brother.
Thank you too.
All righty. That was Justin Levine, our winner here tonight. And definitely a great job for him. I mean, man, that was a hard-fought race. And I'll tell you, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, Caleb. I mean, that was, like you even said before, I wasn't even able to read out the ad reads for tonight just because it was so exciting the entire time.
Yeah, of course, we had a lot of close racing here tonight. This track definitely delivered, obviously, something different than what we have seen before. Obviously, in some of the bigger tracks that we go to, some of the speedways that we go to, we see the field spread out a lot more, and we don't see that much close racing. And tonight we saw lap traffic come into play, and we saw a lot of these guys really show their cards and show the strengths of all these guys, the different strengths that these guys hold. We saw Craig Yanzak as well, and Levine, that 33 of Justin Levine in that Grid Vision livery, really made moves tonight, made up 6 spots here, and ended up coming out with the win here, Brian.
Yeah, definitely a great job for sure to all 3 of our top 3 finishers. Definitely some heartbreak as well, Kyle Holden with a penalty, but definitely a great race. Can't wait to see these guys back in action in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, we're going to be taking some time off. We're going to come back. We're going to definitely, I'm going to have missed these guys, that's for sure. But of course, I do believe tomorrow we are going to be in action at least tomorrow night, Wednesday night, with the Thunderclap iRacing Series presented by TLC Incorporated. I can't wait to see what those guys have in store for us. Of course, that race happens about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lots of greats race in that series. I mean, even real-life drivers such as Ryan Truex, a lot of crew chiefs, a lot of tire changers, guys that work on actual NASCAR crews, and actual real-life racers too. So definitely looking forward to that one for sure. Make sure you tune in. Me and I do believe possibly Justin Prince will be there, depending on his. I know he's been having some technical difficulties, but he should be there for sure. But we hope to see you there as well. Of course, on behalf of everybody, Austin, Derbyshire, Justin Levine, of course, thank you to you, Caleb, for always doing a great job here on behalf of myself as well, and everybody that is associated with Grid Vision. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.